This is the Sprites Hackwitch. So we just did a Hackwitch that gave us a Pong back and forth. This is diving a little bit deeper into what sprites are and kind of how to use them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new app. I'm going to show in folder, and I'm going to rename this to Sprite. I'm going to put an R on here so that I know that it's my recording. All right, now when I open it, I again need to remind the computer, hey, you need to do extra things that you don't know how to do yet. So I'm going to import my Sprite kit. It's going to auto-populate. And this is going to basically be things like be able to understand geometry, be able to understand physics, and otherwise this is know how to do the basic, most common things. This is, I'm going to ask you to do a little bit more, so I need to import those classes that have already been built for me. After I do that, I'm going to empty out and delete the VStack. I actually don't need a VStack in this. All right, what I need to do is I need to create a geometry reader, and we did this last time, and it's going to autofill for me. So geometry reader with a content, and this geometry reader basically just says like, hey, I'm going to create a game scene, and I want you to be able to adapt your size based off of the available space. And I'm going to continue to do that because I want to put a sprite view in there with the scene. I'm going to put this little caret over here, and I'm going to hit that scene. And I'm going to pass the game scene. Again, we haven't done this one yet, so we're about to create it again. Game scene with the size. Geometry. Kind of surprised that this isn't coming up for me, which is why I was spelling it right would be better. That size. Kind of surprised that didn't come up for me automatically, so let's just check to make sure that we're good. Something's wrong. I probably just misspelled something. I was kind of expecting it to auto-populate for me. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so that it's all on one size. Game scene, game scene, size. Oh, that's it. So again, that autofill would have been really nice. And actually, I'll just show you. This is my error right here. I put a period. So now I have game scene, size, and if I do a colon, then my geometry, there we go, should auto-populate. Again, making sure that I use those autofill to protect myself. So this game scene is created, and it calculates the size based off of the geometry that I give it. So this should go away as soon as, oh, there we go. This is not going away. Cannot find game scene in scope. And if you remember during the Pong Hackwitch, we have to go create one. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add a new folder, new Swift file, and I'm going to call this game scene, exactly like we did for the last one. Game scene. Now, inside the game scene, again, I need to import, Swift is pretty good on certain things, but not on others. So I need to import a sprite kit on this page as well, so this page knows what to do. I'm also going to create a class. This is kind of like create the rules or the object that I can manipulate. And I'm going to create a great game scene, and it's going to be an SK scene. Here we go. With SK physics. I want the contact, there we go, contact delegate, which is pretty much that last one. Now, I have this error right now, which says expected member block in class. Basically, it's saying, why would you have me start this and not tell me where to end and begin? All right, so what we're going to do is just like we did last time, we're going to create, and at this point you should have a black screen because that's the default, is just a black screen. It's like a black world right here. All right, so what we're going to do is just like we did before, we're going to create a whole bunch of functions to operate in them. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to do an override function. There we go, override function called didMove. Very similar to what we did before. It's going to move on the SK, the sprite kit view. And we're going to first create a sprite node. A sprite is basically just a little character. All right, let sprite be set to, this is not going to always auto-populate for us because we're creating it. This time it will, but we're going to do the second one, and inside the parentheses, we're gonna give it some information. So I'm gonna do a color, a size, I'm sorry, the color can be whatever color you want. I'm gonna put blue. My size, again, I'm gonna do CG, and this should look pretty, pretty common or pretty familiar from what we did last time. I'm gonna do a height and weight. I don't need to click the other one. I actually want both of those. And so my height I'll put as 100, and my weight I'll put as 100. All right, so now I have this error, and it's basically saying, why would I create it if I didn't use it? So let's create it now, and we're gonna create a position for it. So I'm calling this sprite. It's auto-populating because I'm calling it from right here. And I'm gonna say sprite.position, and I'm gonna place it in the world over here. CG points, and we're gonna use the XY. I want it in the middle of the world, which is just what we did last time. So we're gonna do size.width, and then we're gonna divide that by 2. So what that does is, again, it takes this and it goes, here's my width, take it, divide it by 2, so it goes in the middle. I'm gonna do the same thing over here with height, size.height, divided by 2. Now, nothing's happening right here because I haven't actually given it anything. Like, I've kind of given it some information, but not a whole lot. And remember, I have to add that child. So I'm going to add child, and it's going to be my sprite. And now I have a blue box. Yay, or a blue square. All right. Now I can set some other properties to it. So I'm going to set sprite properties. No idea what just happened there, but that's okay. Did I spell properties right? Yeah. I'm going to create the name so that I can call it sprite name. There we go. And I'm going to call this blue sprite. I'm going to let it have some physics ability. So sprite.physics body. And I'm going to set that to my SK physics body. Rectangle of, and we're going to put a sprite dot size. Oh, and notice it just fell. So I'm actually saying, hey, understand some physics, and some of the physics are gravity is in this world. So here, we don't want that to happen. I'm going to do a physics body, and I'm going to say, are you affected by gravity? No. So that it stops falling off of my world. So this is basically how I would start to apply some physics to the sprite itself. Hey, understand that things happen. Understand that there could be gravity. Understand that eventually I want this thing to do something. All right, I'm going to add an asset now, a second sprite, and I'm going to add a image. So over here, I'm just going to grab an image that I've already done. Don't spend too much time with this. But let's see. In my pictures, do I have anything? What about my photos? There we go. I have a soccer ball. I'm just going to put that in. All right. I'm going to go back to my game scene. And I'm going to, just like so I'll have a soccer ball right next to here. Just like I have my view did load, I want everything to be in this class. So I'm going to, or I'm sorry, in this function so far, I'm going to, just like I did this, I'm going to create my second one. So I'm going to say let ball be set to my SK Sprite Node. I want the image. Kind of, I'm looking to see if why that's not offering me the image. And I think, oh, because I have a T right there. Sprite Node image. There we go. And I believe I called it soccer. There we go. So again, you could have any image, but just make sure that it's whatever you called it, school appropriate. It's not going to come up yet until I make the child for it, which is this right here. So star position, I'm sorry, star, not star, sprite position, but it's called ball size. I'm going to call that CG. Oops, that should be an equal sign. CG size. We're going to call it width and height. We're going to make it a little bit smaller. Then we have a ball position. CG point X and Y. Notice it's very similar to what we're doing up here. I keep losing my place, sorry. Yeah, X, size dot width. For some reason I thought I was about to do height. This time I'm actually going to multiply it. And this is where when you do your own, you're gonna have to kind of play around with it. But here is, oh, I'm about to have an error. If I have one space on the one side, I have to have a space on the other side. Oops, that's, good grief, that should be a space. And then here I'm going to do size, dot height, and I'm going to divide this by 2. So the reason that I have this a little bit differently is because this, I don't want this to be right on top, the ball to be right on top of the square. I actually want it to be off to this side a little bit. So I'm getting an error and I want to see what the error is. I shouldn't have an error right now. There we go. I had a space. So unfortunately, Swift really does not like spaces when you have them, and then sometimes they will require that. So don't have a space right there. So here's my position. And then I'm going to add some sprite possibilities or properties. So here I'm going to put my ball dot physics body. And I'm going to set that to the SK. So I'm basically just adding it, saying like, hey, make sure that you understand that there are some things. I want a circle radius. There we go, circle radius of. And I'm going to put a sprite. Here we go. Dot size width divided by 2. All right, and then my second thing that I'm going to add is that restitution, oops, body, set that to 1. You can play around with these a little bit if you want to. Ball, physics body, friction, set that to 0. Go down a little bit, physics body. Linear damping. Remember, this is basically just how it's reacting to wind resistance, because it can actually simulate that and just kind of pretend that there is wind resistance in the in this world over here. We're going to do angular. This is the damping, again, is hitting against something and the friction that it's being used. Affected by gravity. There we go. And notice, and it just fell off, or it actually hasn't appeared yet because I haven't called the child yet. And then what do I want to call it? Well, I'm going to refer to it as ball instead of sprite. And then the last thing is I can add child's, and I'll add ball. All right, so now I have a soccer ball. Ooh, if I wanted to clean this up, I would actually make this so that I couldn't see the white around it. That would make it look a little bit better, but that's a later me problem. All right, so before, what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to create a touch method. So here I've got my did move function right here. I'm going to go to the end of, or right below the did function. So make sure that you're still in the class, but outside of the function. So I'm going right in between here, and I'm gonna do an override function for somebody to basically select this, which is called a touch, and then move it around. So we're gonna say touches begin, and notice how much already came with me. We actually don't wanna touch any of this, and it's got an error because it's saying like, hey, you haven't let me do anything right now. We're gonna create a guard let for touch. And remember, this is that local, creating a local variable right here to create one inside rather than creating one up at the top. This, if you do it in a different way, you'd get an out of scope error. So whatever touches first, and then else we're return. And the return basically just says, when you run into problems, basically just stop. And so a return is a nice way of like stopping your code from crashing if you are asking for something to be done in a function or a parameter. Not a parameter, a function or a, I'll think of the name in a second. So now we're going to let the location equal the touch that we just created here, location. And we have location in, and we're saying yes, know your, not that one, know yourself. There we go. And then the last thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm just going to make sure that it's being used. And so right here, this is actually saying, hey, we created it, we haven't used it. So I'm just going to print location touched. And then this is the cool thing. So remember, the code can know things about itself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, print the location that you had. So now, there we go. So now as you see, when I touch either one of the sprites, I have this location, and I can tell it where exactly it is in these sprite game worlds. So there you go. So that's what's printing down in my console. Remember, console is the computer memory. All right, what we are going to do is below the print statements, we are going to check to see which sprite was touched, because right now we just have, hey, one of the sprites lives here, one of the sprites lives here. So let's get some more information about like which one was actually selected by the user. So again, inside my touches begin, I'm gonna go right under my prints, and I want to check which sprite node was touched. And we're gonna do let nodes be set to the nodes at the location. There we go. And look, it's already saying, hey, I expect some stuff. I don't like how fast that works, but this is the one that I want. And I'm going to say at location, we have the location up here. If I were to put it outside, I'm going to get some, there we go. I can't find the location in scope because I'm outside of my curly bracket. So now I can find it because we're basically on the same page of code. So we're saying let the sprite at the location, and then we're going to do a for node in nodes and get some information here. So we're going to say if the sprite that's touched equals the blue one. We called it blue sprites. Then print blue sprite touched. If it's the ball, then print that. And then we're actually going to have an else, basically. All right, so for node in the nodes, if node name truly equals, which is two equal signs, so space equals space blue sprite, then print blue sprite touched, else this can actually be up on the same line. It doesn't matter, but I like it so that I can easily see what's happening. Else inside the curly brackets, if node name truly equals ball, then print, whoops, sorry. I can spell the word print. There we go. Then print, here, I'll even put like soccer ball. And then inside this if, I'm going to put another else. Else print there we go. So I do have quite a bit, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have quite a bit of curly brackets down here. So let's see here, soccer ball was touched. Here, Sprite, blue Sprite was touched. All right. So now I have this ability to start interacting with these. I'm going to now, what else do I want to do? I'm going to actually stop this video and I'm going to go down to the next one, and the next one will be pretty short, but it'll also explain the challenge.